Welcome back. It's week 12. Can you believe we're already at week 12? Shout out Mike Francesa. That's what he does every week. Can you believe we're in week 11? Can you believe we're in week 12? Season goes by like that. All of a sudden it's Thanksgiving. Wrap it around the room. We have Casey and Jack in remote settings, wedding. Shout out to Dean, great guy. Met him a couple of times. Happy for him. And we got Uppy too. And his camera angle doesn't get any better no matter where he is. So let's just, I guess go through the lineup here. Jack he bets with his heart. He bets with his brain. He still thinks the Jets are good. So take that with what you will. We have Casey, who we called the fish, but he's sharp as a tack, even though after all the X's and all that sort of stuff, I know X's are a sensitive topic for Casey. He's kind of in a little bit of a downward spiral. Uppy, what can be said about Uppy, man? This guy's the head of betting for a reason. He's 8-4 on the season. And then you have me, who's quietly, I don't want anybody talking about me. I was supposed to be the sharp, got off to a bad start. Quietly coming back. This is second half of the season. This is where the real contenders rise to the top. In case you missed it, there's a whole cluster of what the hell went on. We might have some repentance as well because we had two X's. Jack ends up on the Bills, or no pick. Jack gets no pick, right?
Correct.
So Casey ends up with Kansas City because he X'd Jack's Bills pick. So Casey gets a loss there. And Uppy, because he used an X on Casey and he had his own pick, he ends up with 2 wins. So he had the Colts and the Steelers. I just didn't mess around with any of this tomfoolery. I just laid it with the LA Rams on the road against the Patriots. That covered. And then our consensus, of course, lost because it always does. But the conversation's always entertaining, at least. Jack is 3-7 on the year. Casey is 7-4. Uppy's 8-4, again, because he gets an extra game. And then I am 4-7, creeping up. Fellas, first things first. Now, you haven't talked. I know I've taken a lot of the airspace, but there's apologies in order here. If someone's a big enough man to mention them first, by all means.
Yeah, I can start. I feel like I need to start. A lot of obscenities were thrown at Uppy, and he was right. And after the game in Slack, I nodded my head. Got to take that one on the chin. There's not much to say. You can make excuses about Tucker, what it is, what it isn't, but that's the entire reason for the play. Is it's Steelers Ravens. You never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be close. So it doesn't matter what the excuses are. And then unfortunately, that was my biggest play of the day. So I don't know entirely what I'm apologizing to Jack for because post Ravens game, I got a little too high and just couldn't really lock in to the Bills Chiefs game, trying to recover from the Ravens game. So not really sure what went down in that one, but an apology for taking Jack off of a winning pick there.
Yeah, I'll just say too, it always gets messy when you're betting on your teams as well.
Yes, which is my go-to.
Yeah, and as a guy who doesn't actually bet any of the things he talks about on this show, I think it gets extra messy when you're betting for taking your first straight in some time. Jack,
I do want it on the record. Sorry, last thing. I said I absolutely loved the board. It just so happens that I gave 2 picks on here that didn't hit, but 8-5.
Oh, someone else used to talk like that.
That's,
someone else didn't want to hear.
I took all straights. I took all straights for the first time. Follow me on pick it, yada, 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 8-5.
Jack, you going to say it? You going to say that the Jets suck? You going to say it?
The Jets suck. We'll get to that in a second. I appreciate the half-assed apology, the high-assed apology from Casey. Not really sure what he saw in the Chiefs, but I think last week was just bad handicapping all around from him. He told Uppy to suck him, and he doesn't care about all the trends and Tomlin as a dog. It was just bad process. And then after everything we talked about of why I liked Buffalo, why this was a bad spot for Kansas City, Casey said, well, what if it's just the opposite? Not really sure if that's sound strategy, but records are records. I thought he was going to take the approach and say, you know what? He got on Uppy so hard that he forced an X on himself, causing us a winner, which would have been good had he not also taken us off a winner with the Chiefs and the Bills. So respect him. Now, I do owe Uppy something because I did not X the New York Jets to get onto them, but we made a little side wager. I was saying how, why are the Jets favored by 4? Why are they favored by 4? They shouldn't be favored. Anthony Richardson sucks. All of those things are true, but the Colts did win outright, which means I need to recreate our favorite Colts friends song. I'm not sure who they play this. Oh, they play Detroit, which I believe is going to be someone's pick on the show. So I owe him that. Casey is good on the apologies. Tim got his win, and Uppy's 8-4. So week 12, let's rock with it. Tim, I hinted at it. You want to give us your selection?
Yeah. And I just want to cap one more thing. In Casey's apology, the half-assed apology, the only thing missing was Casey saying, I'm seeking treatment. Would be the only thing missing from the
someone who went 8-5 on the week needs to seek treatment?
No, not for like gambling, for your attitude.
Yes.
And meanwhile, you're saying, like I said, all the obscenities, and your mom's worried about my language.
Yes, true.
So, she was worried about Casey's language as well. Don't worry, plenty worried, and she'll be worried about him getting high at 4:00 on a Sunday as well, I'm sure.
Okay.
By the way, I'm sure there's a ton of people watching this right now who are also high at 4:00 on Sunday after losing their 1:00 Mega Max. I just want to put that out there.
They're watching this on Sunday after we give the picks?
No, I'm saying who were high at Sunday at 4. Anyways, let's get into a pick.
Okay, let's get into the picks. I'm taking something nasty. I'm taking something ugly. Is it cardinal sin? You do not go against this team over the last 2 years, or 2.5 years, even more so. I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts +8, +7.5, anything over a field goal, hosting the Detroit Lions.
Over a touchdown, unless you really love them.
Yeah, no,
right?
I need over a touchdown. Yeah. I expect the contest line to be 7.5. They're getting hit pretty good here. If it's 7, we're still going to count me for 7.5 because this is ridiculous. I deserve that treatment. So this line to me it's just a little out of control, and you could say what you want because Detroit has been that dominant, but they're coming off a win against the corpse of the Jacksonville Jaguars, corpse of Mac Jones. And just a couple of weeks ago, Buffalo went to Indianapolis. They played Joe Flacco, and Buffalo laid 4.5 at Indianapolis. A couple weeks later, now Detroit, who we think is the best team in the league, and comparably to Buffalo, who we think is second, third, close to being towards that top of that, top upper echelon in the league. Now Detroit goes there and lays 8. This to me is too much of an over-adjustment. And there's some funny trends on my side as well. Casey, block your ears. They did come from our guy, Evan Abrams.
Big fan.
Since 2015, teams after winning by 35 plus points following week are 23, 34-1 against the spread. However, 3-1 ATS this season. When they're favored by 4 or more points in that next game, 23-37 ATS. Teams who are road favorites, a game after being double-digit favorites. So basically, Evan is saying really good teams. The next game, in this cold situation here, they are 40-51 against the spread. So, look, I think this is just a spot here. Is just hold your nose. The adjustment, this line should be way lower. It's coming down. I'm gonna hold my nose here and take Indianapolis.
I mean, the trend makes sense, right? And I think we discussed on the show a bunch about like what trends actually quantify and what don't. And I think this one is so simple. The public sees a really good team win by a lot of points. They're not afraid to bet that team to do the same. And it's why you need to hold your nose. This one's more of like a cover your eyes bet because stepping in front of the Lions right now really just is terrifying. Yeah. And they're playing the Colts, so they are still in the dome. Richardson, I think you got a little bit of value in buying low off him. I wonder where they are pricing him. It's a great spot bet, and I'm all for it. It was one of my top picks, and you bet it in your early week stuff, right?
Yeah, I did, and I will say, like, obviously there's 2 sides to every bet, and you're jumping in front of the Lions here. Like the Lions might just be, not an anomaly, but they might be above all of this. Like, right, they could just go blow the doors off Detroit. but I think that this is there's too many reasons on the other side for me. You said, look, like Richardson played better than Flacco, in his first game back against the Jets. You would think then like Indy would get a half point of love of an upgrade. That didn't happen. It was just Lions. So I think they're failing. Even if you think he was net fine, equal to Flacco, they still upgraded the Lions way too much. They were 13-point favorites, 14, like they were gonna beat Jacksonville. So, yeah. And
I also, the one thing I love about this play is we're through 12 weeks, as you said, how'd we get to this point? But the Colts aren't a bad team. I don't like these spots where it's like, oh, Jacksonville's getting 2 touchdowns. It's just a lot of points in the NFL. It's like, well, they're horrific. And that's why. And like, yes, the Lions are the best team in the NFL. The Colts are not the worst team in the NFL. Right. So that's why when people go to like, you look at the Kansas City Panthers spread, it's 11. It's like, well, it's a lot of points to be laying on the road. It's like, well, the Panthers are miserable. And that's why it's so many points. So I'm with you. I think it's a good pick. I don't think anyone is using it.
This isn't the Tennessee Titans. This is still a Colts team with weapons. They have a semblance of a pulse, and they're also well coached, which makes me like them even more.
Yeah. If you lose, it's going to be an embarrassing fashion. Like it's going to be that the Lions pantsed them and spanked them.
And that's my biggest concern, because the Lions right? They do just blow teams out, and they will keep pouring it on. They don't stop scoring.
This is the people who just started betting within the past year or so, like Vegas and the NFL is rigged game of the week, because all those parlays of like just take everyone on the Lions to score and it's an easy way to get rich. And people saw that like went viral one time and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna try it this week. Like they're a big favorite against a bad team. And then they're only going to score like 1 or 2 touchdowns and everyone's going to be, and then all those rookie bettors going to be like, yeah, this shit is rigged for sure.
Also, Tim made the statement that made me love the Colts more than anything. He said, maybe this Lions team is just above all that. There's no such thing. Like this Lions team is not this, the undefeated Patriots team, which by the way, lost in the Super Bowl, because that's the NFL. There is just no team that is above it. And you're getting a half decent Colts team. So
I will say, I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, but this is the very first bet that I made this week, grinding the board at 1 a.m. Sunday night. And then I see Tim is on it Monday morning. So
you're sharp.
You're sharp, sir.
Uppy, you're 8-4. You're 8-4. Come on.
Which I will say, when I went to bet it and I saw Uppy was on it, it made me rethink for sure.
You honestly should.
I really shit my pants and said, oh no, like that's because I've seen Uppy on some horrendous shit.
It's not tennis at 1 a.m. It's NFL sharp betting, and he's 8-4. So I think it's a good vouch more than a bad one. Should we go to Uppy? I feel like Uppy deserves the second slot on this week's show. I mean, he went 2-0.
Especially since everyone's cameras are on equal playing fields here. I just want to start off by saying I do appreciate Casey owning up and apologizing. That was very big of him. Quite the gentleman. And a lot of people would gloat, but I'm not that guy. I've been in this game way too fucking long. The second you get super high, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. So I'm not going to say how great of a week I had. Steelers winning outright, Colts winning outright. I was very heavy on both. Lesser men would continue going on about how well they did, but that's not me.
Give the fucking pick.
I'm going to go to my pick, and it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. -3, Monday Night Football. Love this spot. Very simple spot. Coming off a tough loss. Chargers coming off a win. They can exhale a bit. They got a really big win that they almost blew. And now we get to see Lamar Jackson as a favorite of 3 or fewer. Absolutely dominant. This is from our guy, EA, favorite of 3 points or less, 25-6 ATS. Ravens off a straight up loss to the Steelers, 25-7 the next week straight up. And I think there is something to that. You lose to your bitter division rival, and then you got to get back up. This is still a Ravens defense that is first against the rush, and this is a Chargers offense that wants to run the ball a ton. They're 10th in the NFL in rushing attempts per game. We got a little strength on strength. So can the Ravens secondary step up once again? I know Casey said they're every other week. Let's hope we get back-to-back weeks here, and they just shut them down a bit. This is still a Ravens offense that is the number one scoring offense in the NFL, so love them to bounce back here.
Speaking of, I actually owe you one more apology. Maybe the biggest one is I don't know if I called you brain dead or just stupid about the Tre'Davious White thing, and I told you he was absolutely not going to play. Played huge downs for the Ravens and is looking like a potential starter going forward. So just needed to get my last apology out of the way. But great cap.
I appreciate that. I honestly, when you said that, I was thinking I had missed something because dude's an all-pro and they traded for him. Like, I didn't know if he was brought in like as a player coach or some shit. You said
he was supposed to be dust.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be nothing.
But our secondary is that bad that if you're nothing, you can be something around a bunch of other nothings. But obviously, everyone knows the Lamar stat, 3 as a favorite of 3 or less. Didn't know the Steelers stat because part of me was like, coming off like every time the Steelers and Ravens, they just beat the shit out of each other. Like it seems like a tough spot to bounce back after that, but I love that stat as well. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar's great off a loss. The only, I guess, devil's advocate here, normally you come off a loss to your rival, you're going to be a dog in this situation. So you can look at it both ways, right? You can look at it as they should probably be getting points, or this just really is how good the Ravens are. I think I've been siding with Vegas the whole season. It's why I have them as contenders. On my camera, Uppy literally looks like he doesn't have arms right now.
He's stretching.
Okay. But like they literally disappeared and blended in, and I was like, this is the trippiest thing ever. So I don't think you get as much value there. I think that's more so saying, all right, I think the Ravens are just really, really good. And I do think they figured something out with the secondary last week, but they lost Roquan Smith. That's going to be a much bigger loss than people realize. He's not playing the best football of his career, but losing the green dot, as they call it, and being able to move that to, I don't even know, maybe Kyle Hamilton, who went down again last week. It's not going to be Trenton Simpson, most likely, who's a really young player. So losing the core of a defense that's already struggling, that is a legitimate concern for me. I've always
said, Hamilton going to play? What's the deal?
Hamilton should definitely be a go. He finished the game. He came out for a snap where Marcus Williams replaced him, but he should be a go. And then you've also got like this Harbaugh effect, and you say they're going to take a breather. I mean, these two guys, like, Casey and I aren't letting each other let anything slide. On the biggest stage that those two brothers are not going to let anything, creep into that locker room where they feel comfortable. So teams super familiar with each other. I don't know what direction that plays. You got Greg Roman offense. He was the coordinator for Lamar for years. Dobbins is there. Gus Edwards is there. Hayden Hurst is there. Tony Jefferson's on the practice squad. Like, you could argue this is a more familiar matchup than Ravens Steelers with all the turnover. But yeah, I like the pick. Betting on Lamar in prime time has been a good bet in years past.
That is a good point, the familiarity, but I will say that the Chargers are basically going with all Ravens cast-offs, and this is a Ravens offense that's significantly better.
Totally.
So here's the other side of it. I bet this on the money line, the Ravens, when it was still 2.5 creeping to 3. I kind of want to stop at, I think 3 is where I would stop. And I know it's a contest. You got to play the number, but it's especially with where Justin Tucker's at right now. If this thing comes down to something real close, I don't love laying 3 with the way that this guy's looked right now. And the way that this, Ravens obviously secondary has a tendency to get shredded. So 3 is kind of where I think the number should be. That's why I honestly, if you want to bet the Ravens, like, I would just take them on the money line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like it was a pretty sharp line at 3. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in the contest we get 2.5. I have to imagine we
No
get a
shot.
3, but we will see. Case, do you have a pick this week?
My pick this week is the Seattle Seahawks at home. I believe it is -1 against the Arizona Cardinals. We've been going back and forth on this Seattle team each week, and this feels like Seattle coming off the big win against the Niners. They drop it to the Cardinals, but I'm actually not buying that the Cardinals are actually good. And I think Seattle is good. And also Kyler Murray off of a bye is not very good. He's busy in New York City eating pizza and not working out, which is just overall not good for the Cardinals. He is going to get Mike Macked to death. I think it's going to be a Seattle defense masterclass. And I think this Seattle passing offense can have some success against this Cardinals team, which I think is very overrated. I'm not buying the Cardinals being a real threat to win that division. I truly think they are the only team in that division, not in the running for that division. As stupid as that may seem, with them being top of it and the other 3 at 5-5. But I would say if I was the sports book, I would give Rams, Niners, and Seahawks all a better chance. I think we're going to get a Kyler Murray disaster class on Sunday, and I like the Seahawks.
Why?
Because Kyler Murray was eating pizza in New York City. Did you miss that?
Do you know for a fact that video was from this past
Yeah,
week?
it's Kyler's enjoying his bye week. This guy from wherever
No.
didn't know
That's
that he
what-
was eating pizza.
That's what. No. But there was no correlation. Like there wasn't a time.
I think we can confirm he was wearing a beanie, so it was chilly. So
No, that's
probably pretty recent.
No, that's
That's
good
actually-
investigative. Yeah, that's
No,
not.
no,
bad.
it was-
I'm
it
just
was
saying, like
definitely- it was
people
definitely
release
this week.
content like after.
It was
the fact.
definitely this week. By
People
the way,
wear beanies in hot weather too. It's
By the way,
Yeah.
my Uber driver, my sharp Uber driver that Tim and I were lucky enough to have this morning, bonus picks. He gave the Raiders and the Ravens as his 2 favorite plays for the week. But what he told me is he likes he likes good coaches off of buys and likes betting against bad coaches off of buys. You didn't let me finish. I do not think he falls under either of those. So I'm not giving him credit one way or the other. And I think Kyler is bad off of the bye week. Clearly not locked in. Traveled cross country to New York City, then has to go back cross country, then up to Seattle. I mean, I'm a geography guy. Uppy's not. I don't like it. Seattle's a tough place to play. He's too short. I don't like it at all.
Okay. Let's just paint in the rest of the picture here while we're just talking about the game. So what Casey's referring to is that Kyler Murray in games off of a full bye. After the full bye, Kyler Murray is 1-4 straight up and ATS, and on extended rest, he is
I believe 5-9.
5-9 ATS with extended prep. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah. So this line's actually really interesting to me because it keeps bouncing back from Arizona being a favorite to Seattle being a favorite. It opened as Arizona being a dog of 2, and then all the way went to Arizona as a short favorite. It's actually not no consensus across the books here. It's one either way. It's really obviously a sharp handicap that he was in New York City and he's short. But
by the way, him flying cross country to eat pizza on his extended rest directly plays into the fucking bullshit trends and stats you want to pull up against him off of a bye. So maybe it's a great cap.
I want to say this. As someone who bet Kyler Murray to win the MVP and was admittedly not that high on them, I thought that they had some phony results. At this point in the season, I don't really understand the idea that they're not good. Like, Gannon is a good football coach. He's proven it. He's taken a roster that's absolutely lacking talent. And when we use this bye stuff, Kyler Murray's teams they always started really well with Cliff, and then they fell off a cliff, pun intended. And it was because Cliff Kingsbury's a bad coach. So credit to your Uber driver for identifying bad coaches do not benefit from a bye. I don't think that's the same with Gannon here. Like, I think he's a good coach.
No, I'm not saying that was not why I brought that up. I'm saying he fits in the middle. Then Suno,
I think he's a good coach.
Leader of the team, Kyler, clearly not showing that he's committed.
So Kyler ate pizza in New York, and you're fading him for that.
Correct. By the way, pizza, New York, called the new COD. Like, it's a whole. Did the new COD?
He's undefeated since COD came out.
Yeah, well, not off the bye.
It was baked in, Jack. Baked in.
It was baked into the line. All right, I don't feel strong, like, as the Sharps bounce it back and forth. I agree. Like, there isn't a right side. We'll probably learn a lot about these two teams after Sunday. So I'm not going to use an X, but I hate the handicap. Like, I think last week you had two of the most atrocious ones, and somehow you've just one-upped yourself with this one. Kyler Murray did not train.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, shocker. The only two sharp people liked each other's caps today. Like, that's the least.
Sharps gotta stick together.
Literally all year. Yeah, agree.
I'm losing to this guy, by the way.
By a landslide. Yeah. By a landslide.
No, but as I projected, the second half of the season, the market was correcting, and we've already seen signs of that with a big 0-2 last week from Casey, although not technically on the record.
Not 0-2. So don't even.
I mean, you went 0-2 on your picks.
What's it like? Like, make sure the judge strike that from the record, like, because the audience hears that and then they believe it. Like, I never understood.
Well, you were 0-2 in your picks. You were
the jury still
okay. So
heard
8-5. Strike that from the record. How about this? Off the record, you were 0-2. On the record, you were 0-1.
Okay, fine.
Now,
right,
Casey,
so
let's make sure.
I agree. Like, how does the jury get it out of their head once they hear it? Just because it's
right?
stricken, I'm still thinking.
I never understood that. Just because they say, like, "Yo, pretend you didn't hear that," like, they obviously all heard that shit.
Yeah, it's more.
It's a strategy,
but as well, it's a warning to the attorney as well. Like,
right, don't step over the line.
If you keep doing that shit, like, it could be a mistrial, something like that. So
objection, badgering. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you got it.
Yeah.
So for my pick this week, I had 5 options that I put into Slack because there wasn't one that I was ultra convinced on. I was open to kind of hearing, whether people hated or loved them. The obvious hate was Cowboys +10. I'm happy to stay away from that abomination of a team, but I do think it's a lot of points. But I also am leaning on Tim here a little bit because Tim said he power rated them way worse than expectation, like than what we even thought they were. So happy to stay away. Ravens -3 were utilized. Left me with,
I was first
with 3
to the
picks.
Cowboys thing, and I didn't. I only bet Houston in teasers. Like, I just wish I had the conviction to.
Yeah,
I do it with Philly too. I think that this team.
I think Micah being hurt is also playing a huge part. Like, he's now a non-factor. Like, they just don't have professional level players, and because of the star and playing in Jerry World on primetime, you don't associate them with like the Titans or even the Panthers. But
right.
I'm with you. At this point, they definitely deserve that treatment. So I was down to 3. Eagles -3, Packers -2.5, and Bears +3.5. The more we talk, I feel like I'm getting on the Bears at the wrong time. I liked them last week. Obviously, they covered the number.
Tim said that exact thing on Early Bet show on Monday.
Yeah. I don't think it's gone too far. Like, I definitely would not take the Vikings, but I just think that this is the right line, and with it being the right line, I'm still not as high on the Vikings as the market is. So that was the pick I came into the show planning on taking.
Doesn't it feel like the Bears should have been 3.5 last week? And that's that.
Yeah.
What it feels like is Jack has talked about 4 picks that he's not going to take, and we still haven't gotten to his picks.
No, I'm just honestly
at least he brings
talking out
something
loud.
other than fucking pizza, man.
Yeah. It's more just a conversation to like I think what's productive for our audience and society as a whole, genuinely, as we move forward after the election, is like Uppy said, Vikings should be 3.5 point favorites. The Packers should have been 3.5 point favorites, and now it is 3.5. what's that gap between Minnesota and Green Bay? Because if we're in agreement that it should have been 3.5 last week, do we power rate the Vikings the same as the Packers? Tim, I would be curious what you make those two teams.
So first off, to your point about last week was the week. Like this is again, it's a lesson in like the look ahead for this game, Minnesota and at Chicago. The week before was Minnesota -4.5, and now it is 3.5. So like, saying, oh, I think the Chicago is better than we thought after the Green Bay game. Minnesota still kind of cracks in the armor. They know that too. They made the same adjustment. So if your argument is it should be even more, which I have a hard time arguing that we move things more than a point or two from week to week, sure. But so that's one aspect. And then for me, would I make this?
I'm curious what you have the difference between Green Bay and Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like Tim's been. I've
been high on Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's overrating, but Tim's been super high on Green Bay the whole time, so I don't know if that's a fair comp for someone who feels super strongly about them.
I have them as even teams now. I downgraded the Packers from last week, and
I like that.
I downgraded the Packers from last week. They're even teams.
Okay. Well, in that event, then I hear you. The reason why I think a major adjustment could be made, the Bears last week were kind of in this world where we actually weren't sure if they had quit, if it was an absolute disaster. And now it's like, okay, they're not good, but they're not, the Cowboys who have given up on the season. So,
right.
All right.
I'll move off of that. Do you think that heartbreaking loss could be the reason that they now quit or no?
So I don't like to play the emotions of the team. Like, I just don't know. I don't follow it closely enough. It's tough to gauge.
So I almost thought of that, Casey. I almost brought up the same point, but what brings me back to center and to say, I'm not so sure that motivation is like what the main factor is here, because the Bears are still like they're trying to be a rebuilding up and coming team. And when you still have the rookie quarterback who's like supposed to be the future and all that, you have too much kind of ahead of you to really quit. Like the Jets were a different spot where we said they could free fall because this was an all in type of thing. And if it went poorly, it was like, well, like we knew this was a one try at it. And now, we face the reality. It's not it. Chicago wasn't supposed to win the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, now we suck. Like, screw it. They were kind of supposed to be kind of in the middle type of team.
Yeah. All right. So that leaves me with Packers -2.5 or Eagles -3. The thoughts that are going through my head: Chargers miraculously keep the Lamar Jackson trend alive with a ridiculous win over Cincy. Eagles get the Ravens after this game in LA. I've been upgrading the Eagles as the season goes on. That defense is way, 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 way better than I expected. Mitchell for them has just literally shut down half of the field. I love them against Washington, more on a fade against Daniels. He's just playing super banged up, which is why I liked Dallas. Like, I don't think people are properly giving enough. Like, Daniels has not been good at all, really, since he suffered that rib injury. So
no
Philly,
love for white boy Cooper DeJean.
I mean, he stepped in and played some good snaps recently, but Mitchell's been good like all year. Do you want to name Blankenship too? And then you can give.
Well, I mean, shout out to White secondary. It doesn't happen
White.
often. Yeah.
Right,
the full like three.
Jason Sehorn before you guys were born.
What?
Uppy, we're young.
His point.
We're young, but you still suck.
That's just the end of that statement. Anyways, back to my pick. Eagles laying the full 3 hurts here. I'm not super high on the Rams, but I think
pun
they're a good enough
there
team.
Or no?
No pun intended on that one. So okay. I guess, but if Tim downgraded the Packers, I just think
make a pick.
I don't have a fucking pick, honestly.
All right, I'll give a second one then. God damn.
Well, all right, can I take the Browns? Is that legal? I know it's like a Tim policy, but
yeah,
I can't
do
take
whatever
the Browns.
Fuck you want.
I can have the Browns?
Yeah.
Uppy,
Yeah, go ahead.
you're the one who edits the show, so it's really on you.
Yeah, we probably won't have
Yeah.
a clip
We
about
can
it,
get
but you're
turned
not going to have
around,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not going to have a
okay.
good handicap for it anyway, so just fucking give us the Browns.
The more work
Yeah,
for
I'm
Uppy
gonna
pick
take-
of the week.
I'm going to take the Browns +4 here. As Uppy said, he knows this Steelers team well. He was on him +3, used his X, and he admits that this is a big shot. I would have to run the numbers. I'm not going to, but in theory, I would run the numbers. I would think that the home AFC North Thursday night teams cover at a insane amount. Obviously, they didn't Bengals Ravens a couple weeks ago, but I just remember when we were doing the Thursday night tour, like similar spot. Bengals clearly the better team, come into Cleveland, and Cleveland won that game. 4 points in an AFC North short week. I know favorites cover really well here in this spot, but I don't know. Browns off a couple losses. They surprisingly have not quit. And maybe this is their give up game where they're just like short week. We don't really
What do you
care.
mean they haven't quit?
But the Brown-
they basically didn't play the second half against New Orleans
Well, they were down like 100.
because they were already starting to quit.
But think about like where the Browns should be mentally. You come into the year with Super Bowl aspirations, expectations you can compete for a playoff spot. Your quarterback is just like a despicable human being. It seems like this is the team that should be. The energy around the Browns is not like the Jets. It's not like the Cowboys. And I think they kind of relish the spot to play spoiler. They're playing for jobs right now. Like Stefanski wants to keep his job, I think, and have a good run at it. So yeah, I just like the Browns getting over a field goal. I don't think the Steelers are like world beaters here.
It's so Jack, this to me is in the category of like classic spot line has accounted for it. That's what scares me.
I think the Browns should be favored.
That's insane. That's
Stop it.
insane.
Seriously.
You have been a little you've been a little reckless with your wrong team favorites.
Why?
He
Who else
also-
did I say?
By-
Who else
you
did I say
also
wrong
did
team
annou-
favorite?
You were
No,
always,
Jack did announce that. Jack announced that he's done trying to be reasonable though in this world of social media, and he's just going hot takes now. So
Yeah.
you have to take that with a little.
Yeah,
bit of a grain of
I'm
salt.
firing that off. Yeah, get me a clip of that. Wrong. All right, here. Let me say it clear to the camera. The wrong team is favored in the Browns Steelers game. Browns should be laying 4 points. Browns money line. Browns +4. Your lock of the week.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's good.
Yeah, we're clipping that.
That's good stuff.
I honestly don't hate it because
Yeah,
All right, cool.
the Steelers actually have never won a road divisional game on Thursday night. Crazy. And this is a game that they always lose. 2 weeks of rah-rah Tomlin as a dog, and now you got to be like, we're just fucking good. And like, how do you get your team up in Cleveland on Thursday night? This is absolutely a spot they lose every single year.
Also
absolutely lose
worth
this game.
noting, I feel like I don't know, like the stats from what I saw, it's looked like since the Jets game, Russ has regressed a touch. His stats will say otherwise in that Commanders game, but I was not impressed with how he was playing. And maybe like, Rusty's coming back to
Correct.
floor.
Russell Wilson is not a world beater. No one
Right.
needed the Ravens game to figure that out. And this is a huge part of like, can he take advantage of like matchups, right? The Browns aren't going to put up 40 points, but neither are the Steelers. The Steelers offense is
But I
dog
will say this is a game the Browns win or they lose by like fucking 30 with 2 defensive touchdowns and the wheels just completely fall off.
Yeah.
Jack, do you want AFC North dogs on Thursday night?
I wanted in division, but give me AFC North dogs just for AFC North dogs on Thursday night. Fire me up.
AFC North Dogs on Thursday night. 9-15-1 ATS.
What about on Prime?
Oh, wow. So when did the Prime deal kick in?
That was like 3 years
3
ago. And
years ago?
what about when
So
the quarterback
Coming off
Jameis Winston?
what about when they're coming off a win the week before against another divisional team?
So last I'll give you the last 4 years just to be safe
All right.
with Amazon
Yeah.
Prime. That would be 2 and 4.
But one of those games was Ravens Bengals, which we knew the Bengals were covering. We said that.
Oh yeah, obvious. Yeah.
But that would be against your point then.
How many of those 20 you said 9-15-1?
All right,
how
can we
many of
move
those
to the
20
consensus?
Real quick though, serious question. How many of those 25 were home dogs?
Oh, home dogs. right.
Home AFC North dogs.
1-0-1.
Ooh,
we go.
no losses, no losses. That's a trend for me. Undefeated.
Two games.
Here we go. Hold
That's
on.
an angle.
Also, I went to Twitter to try and find something for this Browns game that I was searching for, but literally they're just listening because the clip popped up. Kyler Murray enjoyed the Cardinals bye week with some New York City pizza. Is the first thing that popped up on Twitter.
I mean, that's just like trending everywhere.
By the way,
yeah.
and
I haven't seen it one time. So
you know what it was. You know what it was quote tweeted by? It was quote tweeting an earlier from November 11th. Kyler Murray celebrating yesterday's W with some insomnia cookies. That fat fuck.
Casey, this is like your dream. This is like that's
insomnia
you.
cookies and pizza. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm not an NFL quarterback trying to go into fucking 12th man.
All right, how do we get a consensus that's going to lose? Should we fade the consensus? I'm just throwing it
All right,
out
so
there.
I have a perfect consensus that I think is going to win, but is obviously going to lose. So that should be great for us. Patriots
the
plus
Eagles?
7.5 in New England. Nope.
It's in Miami.
In Miami.
Good start.
Yeah, good start. Like Tim, like you said, if you watch the Rams game, they probably should have covered. And then he's 3-1 against the spread. It's since being the starting quarterback. If you in Vibe's record where they should have covered the Rams, he's 4-0. My only concern, this was actually going to be my pick, and then I did some late research. Tua is 6-0 against the Dolphins in his career.
Against the Dolphins?
Jesus,
He's talking about
fucking Christ.
practice?
6-0 against
Bro's been hanging out with Tua. He's got no brain.
Yeah.
6-0 straight up against the Patriots. And in those 4 of 6 games at home, they have won by 9 or more points in all 4 of those.
Yeah,
home
the whole
games
thing was
against the
Tua owns
Patriots.
Belichick. That was like a thing that might, and it's going to be
Yeah, but
71
it's
in Miami.
Mayo. It's Mayo and May, and not Belichick and Jones. So I love it. Plus 7.5.
Casey, you gotta leave the dabs to Sunday and not like right before the fucking show, dude. You've been in shambles here. Can't even put like a coherent thought together.
No wonder
I
he's
don't-
so
I'm
focused
not-
on insomnia and
I'm
pizza.
I'm not good at connecting flights. I had to go through ATL. That shit ludicrous, and like it took it out of me.
I'm a loss of words. Really, this is
I have a pick that's never gonna get.
Wait, so does
Okay.
anyone like the Patriots or no?
no.
No feel on it. No feel on it.
The line's
I
right.
can't.
The line's
All
right.
right. What
Yeah.
about the Patriots in New England with Tua against his own defense?
I like that. If they did a scrimmage,
Do you want me to check the trend on that?
Yeah. Yes. Tell me how he plays in practice.
Chiefs minus 11.
I was gonna say Panthers plus 11.
The total being so low in that game is scary.
All right. Shall we
Yeah.
move to the Uber driver lock of his week then?
Yeah,
Raiders
I like
plus
Raiders.
5 plus
I
5.
I actually like Raiders.
Tim, tell me
a
that
lot.
guy's not sharp. Tell me that guy's not sharp, Tim.
He is, and you must have been already hitting the dab because he said he only liked it at 6.
Oh, he was
Give me a
that
break.
sharp. Okay.
No,
All
he
right,
said. What did he said?
What's
he's,
half a
I
point
think he's-
amongst friends?
I think he said,
It's nothing,
and don't
man.
misquote me, Tim. Did he say he's the greatest gambler in the country?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he said he liked it at a specific number.
No, this guy's actually sharp for sure. Tim, what was he? He started what? Like an OG casino or something?
Yeah, Island Casino, which is it's like old school Vegas. And she was a shady character. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I love when people are like, I did this, I did that, I did this. Then why are you driving me to the airport as an Uber driver from Kent to Cleveland?
Whoa,
Airport? Like,
whoa.
I'm sorry, if you're that successful, why are you driving Uber?
Meet people, give out picks, change the
All
world.
right, I'll see you at the bar. Let's rip a Sunday where we talk picks and drink a little at the bar, and maybe you buy me a beer because you're doing so well in life.
He also
English?
Yo, guys, we're drug testing now.
No,
going
no, no,
forward.
Tim and I woke up early, man. Travel day.
I was trying to multitask by looking something up, and I can't read and talk. This guy too said he likes to bet. He likes to take his games on Wednesday morning. He was driving all Wednesday morning, so that was.
He's got Bluetooth. Calls the bookie, gets the bets in.
Yeah, his is all offshore, like right to his bookie. That's just a simple call. That is no phone.
All right, consensus.
Uber driver on the way
all
there,
right,
who is certainly on her phone.
Tim, give out one that you kind of like, and we'll all agree as we do it.
Wait, what about Raiders?
Well, we just said at 6, and if it's 5.5, we're not taking it. For the first time ever. No, there's 2 games we haven't talked about. So does anyone like Tampa -6, Giants +6 with DeVito, or Titans +8 against Houston? They're laying 8.
Would love 5.5 with Tampa Bay.
Really? Kind of love the Giants.
Yeah, I like the Giants.
Too.
It's kind of like a get a win and get out of there type of game. I expect it to be low scoring.
That's actually my Gabagool play of the week. The Tommy DeVito Gabagool play of the week. It's a new segment we've been working on.
I can't be in this room for much longer. This is like the dumbest fucking.
All right, good thing you're
episode.
virtual. Pick the computer up and take it to a different room because the Gabagool play of the week sounds like a fucking hammer. You're trying to make fun of the guy that's 8-4.
We got 3. We got 3. Let's Gabagool it.
I don't actually like it. I don't actually like it.
The vibes were high.
I don't actually like it. What do we think about the 49ers?
Eagles? No, I don't like the Niners.
We don't know. Purdy's Purdy might not play. So
Actually?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I think we might only submit 4 picks this
Packers.
week.
Yeah, and
Cowboys
no
are
Bosa.
locked. Cowboys are
Nah,
locked.
I hate the Packers. Their love is atrocious.
So I actually think the Packers in a contest isn't a bad play.
Okay,
Because
talk
of the
to us.
injury stuff
Because you could get
that could come out and we get locked in.
Yeah.
Purdy's playing. If the line's 2.5, Purdy's playing. If he had a chance of not playing, this is sitting 3 for safety reasons. But if it's under 3, there's no way. Am I wrong?
I tend to agree. I tend to agree. It's just something I heard.
All right. Well, we're in an unprecedented situation where we've actually hit every game and we have not agreed upon. So it's not one of those where we can just throw one out and we are like, oh, we haven't talked about that yet.
Steelers down to 3.5 as the show carries on, in case we were curious how sharp I am. All right. So we'll go around the horn, throw out a pick. If you like it, say you like it. If you don't, we move to the next. All right. I go
What
first.
exercise were we just doing?
Yeah, isn't that what
it was less official. It was less official. All right, my pick is
15 minutes.
Yeah, we did. We literally did.
Giants
this exact
+6. We need 3 hands. All right, Casey, go ahead.
I'll go.
No
I
explanations.
just did
You just
this.
say
We just
say team until we get it.
This.
Let me
Just
guess.
say
New
team.
England. Yeah.
Patriots. Yeah, we
Okay.
just
All right,
did this. It's the
Uppy,
dumbest
go.
fucking exercise ever.
Uppy, go.
Raiders. Also, the way this is cut, the hands don't work well because if no one speaks, then it just sits on me.
All right, Raiders.
That
I'm
makes
in.
sense. Yeah, I'm
Tim.
talking with Raiders. All right, sorry, Tim.
Raiders it is. Yeah. You're
No
gonna have
half
to eat
point
that
for
half
you.
point. Grow up. The half point has gotten you a fucking 4-7 record so far, so you can shove that half point up your ass. We're on the Raiders. Uber driver lock of the day.
All right, let's do underdog really quickly.
Week 12 underdog play turning $10 into $100, starting with Kyler Murray lower on his fantasy points in Seattle. The 12th man's going to be all over that New York City pizza eating fuck.
All right, my pick is another short king. It's Bryce Young lower on fantasy points. BY has bounced back nicely since his benching, but he is running into an angry Chiefs defense off a loss. Spags is going to be all over him with different blitz packages, and I like Bryce Young to finish lower.
All right, J.K. Dobbins lower on his rushing yards. Revenge game. Fuck that. Ravens, best rush defense in the NFL. Little guy's going to be running for his life. The wrong way. Easy lower.
Love it.
Great work. Tim, I feel like we need a lower from you so we can be a lower crew.
Oh, really?
No. I was just like, it would,
Yeah,
it
don't
would
do
fit,
that.
but
Just let him give his one play before he
anything
throws a
you
fit.
got.
Watch your
Don't
mouth.
Don't look at me like that.
You're not being very kind. I am going Jalen Hurts longest completion higher than 36.5 yards.
Why?
Fuck yeah. Good answer.
Because I think that this Rams defense is suspect, and I think Hurts, after the game in which he was okay, kind of got bailed out by Saquon Barkley. I think the Rams load the box, dare him to throw, and I think they're able to hit one over the top.
Do you know who his wide
Nice.
receivers are, or do you need Casey for that?
AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. You can also throw in Goddard if you think he's going to seam him. Or
Saquon had a catch over 36 last game. I
a
mean,
little
so many
screen that
options.
Saquon turns
Great
into,
fucking pick.
Yo,
yeah,
good
that's
answer.
money.
Good answer.
I was
All
just
right,
taking, yeah. I was taking my time. I was just
Good work.
cross-referencing
Good
a few
work.
things.
Yeah, cross-reference all day.
Those are our picks. If you forgot what we took, because we probably already forgot, Uppy will post them all over social. We'll be back next week, special edition, Thanksgiving. We'll have picks out for all the Thursday games and as well as the weekend games. And maybe we even throw in some college football picks. Fuck it. Tim comes to the table, wants to spray the board, and he's excited about it. So we'll see you guys next week.
Hey, it's a big week for me, though. Thanksgiving. Love Thanksgiving week. It's my favorite.
Huge week. Who's favored in Marblehead Swartzburger?
Swampscott.
Yeah.
The Marblehead should be favored. They're playing at Fenway Park.
The Powder Puff game is at Fenway?
No, the Thanksgiving game. Marblehead Swampscott Thanksgiving game.
Oh, I don't care about that. I want the Powder Puff line.
Oh, I don't know what's going on because the Marblehead teachers are on strike. So
Whoa.
a lot has been, it's been quite messy.
By the way,
kids have been
Marblehead Sharp. Yeah, Marblehead Sharp because they just are studying the playbook without school.
What is Marblehead ATS after a strike and pizza in New York?
They're actually 0-1 after a strike because they lost. They had a vote to see if they were going to let the team play because coaches technically can't be coaching, and so the kids can't technically play during a strike. They had an injunction. They were in the football playoffs to play. They played with like none of their coaches, and they did get the doors blown off them, unfortunately. But they couldn't practice the whole week and stuff.
Wait, so are they doing that for the game? The Fenway game?
So they still play the Thanksgiving football game no matter what. And that probably is going on. I don't know if they're practicing and stuff because it's all messy.
A lot of drama up in the coastal town. Okay.
Pay the
All right.
teachers.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, pay the teachers.
Pay the teachers.